Welcome to Your Wedding Unlimited, a podcast for couples who want a wedding day that feels personal, authentic, and true to them. I'm Abby, UK wedding planner and owner of Elegance Unlimited, here to help you reinvent tradition and plan a wedding day that genuinely tells your love story. I cannot wait to get started, so let's get planning. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Your Wedding Unlimited podcast. My name is Abby. I am a wedding planner, coordinator, and stylist here in the UK. And this is my podcast, here to share all of the wedding planning tips and advice with you. So thank you so much for joining. I am so grateful to have you here. In today's episode, I am going to be talking a little bit more about what I do specifically and the different roles that I do and the differences within those as well. So as I just mentioned, I am a wedding planner, coordinator, and stylist. So today I'm going to tell you the difference between a wedding planner, a coordinator, and a stylist. So if you are a little bit confused about what they do and the differences and the benefits to all of them, then listen along to this episode and it's going to help you understand that a bit better. Before we do jump on straight into things, if you are not yet following or subscribed, then please make sure you do that. It's just one little button and it makes sure you come back every single week, every single Wednesday release episodes, and you can come back straight away, be informed straight away, and know that there is a new episode for you to come and listen to. So I would be eternally grateful if you took 2 minutes to go and do that. And whilst you're there, you might as well leave us a little review as well. Otherwise, let's get straight on into the episode. So, as I mentioned, I am a wedding planner, but I also do wedding day coordination, and I am also newly introduced a styling package into what I do as well. It's something I've been doing for a little while as part of my weddings, incorporating styling and supporting with that. And at styled shoots, I always do my own styling recently. So yes, that's a new package for me. And I thought, do you know what? Let's talk about it today. Let's break it down, because I feel like for me, when I first joined the wedding industry, I didn't fully understand the specific differences between the roles. And like, what does this mean? How is a planner different from a coordinator? And what are the different things involved? And how will I know which one I need or what my couples need and all those kind of things? And that took some learning. So I feel like if you are engaged and you're coming into planning a wedding, that is also going to feel quite confusing, particularly when there is so much information out there. So many opinions, so many, oh, you need this and you can't have a wedding day without having this. So I just thought we'd break it down for you today. We're just going to talk about it, break it down. I also feel like sometimes, because of all the information out there and because there's different named roles for everything, a lot of the time couples can feel like these roles are interchangeable and that your planner can also be a coordinator. Technically it can, but your coordinator can also do planning. And because your coordinator is going to be there on the day, they can also do styling for you. And actually is a little bit of a difference. So like I said, I do all three. So let's talk about the details and let's talk a little bit about what that means and which ones you might need for your wedding day. So your wedding planner is like the biggest role, essentially, because it involves the most work and the most amount of time dedicated to it. So a wedding planner is someone that will support you through the entire process, could be from the moment you get engaged if you book them that soon, but essentially from whatever point you book them at, early stages of wedding planning typically, up until the wedding day itself, executing the wedding day, coordinating that day, making sure everything runs smoothly from all of the plans that we've put in place throughout the process. So it is the most hands-on and in-depth role. And that is because we are researching, we are talking to suppliers, we are supporting you with your budget, we are doing logistics, we're pulling together visions and mood boards in those early stages, we are guiding you through the process, we're sometimes talking you off the ledge if you're feeling overwhelmed and anxious and stressed out. We are the emotional support as well. It is, like I said, suppliers, timelines, schedules, all of those things pulled into one little wonderful role. So it's the most hands-on and in-depth, but we help you plan your wedding day. So this is perfect for people that want help planning their wedding day because they don't know where to start and they don't know what to do and they want to make sure they get it right. It's perfect for people that know what they want, but they are really busy and they don't have the time or the interest in planning a wedding. Some people want the wedding day, but they're not interested in planning it. They don't want to do that. Like, that bores them, the contracts and all the liaising and stuff. Obviously, you're still going to have some input. You're going to need to read the contracts. You're going to need to make sure that you're understanding what's going on. You're going to need to make decisions and say yes to this, no to that. But in terms of the legwork and the research and the documents and pulling everything together and the emails back and forth, someone else can do that for you. And that is what a wedding planner comes in to do. I like to think of it as being that soundboard for the entire journey. So we are that like supplier for hire that becomes honestly a really good friend and someone you can lean on and check in with and say, hey, we've just booked this and we'll always be excited for you. By the way, you will always have someone there that is immediately excited about every decision you make and wants to support you. And you can send a picture of the wedding dress or the signage that you've made, and we will always be excited for you. You can ask for advice from us and get support with that and say, actually, I don't think that would work, or this might work better, or how about we frame it in this way, or that's amazing. Let's plug it into the timeline straight away. I always think that it's a huge benefit having a wedding planner because as much as I love doing wedding day coordination, and we will get onto that, a lot of the time, because you're just taking it up a few weeks before the wedding day and then running the wedding day based on what another couple has planned, there is less input from me throughout that planning process. So sometimes you'll get to a wedding day and think, oh, this is not going to be a huge problem, but it's not the way I would have planned it to get the smoothest outcome, to get the best outcome on the wedding day. Or I maybe would have done this like this to make sure that this flows better. And I probably would have done this. But because we're picking it up later on, there's less we can do. So having a planner throughout the entire process and having someone that can actually pick up things as they come up and say, oh, I think this would work better. How do you feel about that? Or actually, based on my experience, I think this actually works better than that. How do you feel about that? Or, you know, based on weddings I've done before, I definitely think you're going to need a few more tables of this, or you're going to need more of this. And, you know, just giving that advice throughout the process to make sure that you're on track, to make sure you're making good decisions, to make sure that everything is going to come out the way you want it to. Huge benefit to having a wedding planner. Plus, life gets busy, okay? Life's. And you've got jobs and kids and families and all these other things going on in life and holidays, and you want time off and socializing and all these things. Actually having someone to check in with you and be like, hey, are we still on track with this? Or hey, we're falling a bit behind with this. Let's pick this up again. Having someone to keep you on track, because the amount of people that I speak to or hear from that are like, oh my gosh, we have got so much to do and we're just finding that we're having no time to do it, or like our motivation has died for it and we're just not feeling energized again. Having someone throughout the whole process to just walk you through that is just such a huge benefit. So yes, your wedding planner, to bring it back to the role and what we do, someone booking me for a full planning package is typically coming to me either just after they've booked their venue or just before they've booked their venue. Typically, if they want the whole hog, the full planning process, and we are working through that process together. So then I am saying, okay, perfect. Let's work on getting a budget nailed down so that we know what we're working from. Let's work on some mood boards and some vision boards and get some inspiration on what kind of day you want and how you want it to look and feel. Now let's start researching our suppliers. Let's contact those people, get some quotes, see how we're feeling about those. Do they feel right? One of them's good? Fantastic. Let's book them. Now let's move on to the next supplier. Oh, you're interested in this? Let's have a meeting and talk through how this might work. Or you want to do things a bit differently and not follow all the traditions? Perfect. Let's have a brainstorming meeting, see what might feel right for you, and we'll reach out to the perfect suppliers for that. Keeping me up to date with when you've got dress fittings and when you've booked certain things yourself. Like, you don't have to, just because you've got a wedding planner, by the way, doesn't mean that I have to do everything for you. If you think we really want to reach out to this florist and have a conversation with them, we'll loop you in on what the outcome is. Fantastic, do that. As long, you know, we're working together throughout the process. As long as we're both on the same page and we all understand what's going on, then it does not mean that I have to do everything for you. If there are parts of the process you want to take over more yourself and take the lead on, let me take the lead on others. Or if you just want to have someone there as a sounding board, you know, we're working through that process. And then the closer we get to the wedding day, the role starts to change a little bit from helping you plan to helping you refine and then hand over those plans so that you feel comfortable in letting go and enjoying the wedding day. And that is when a wedding planner then becomes your wedding day coordinator. So 9.9 times out of 10, your wedding planner is also going to be coordinating your wedding day. And we will have been working through the process, pulling together your schedule and your timeline and day plans and making sure all of the suppliers are up to date. Your venue knows what's going on. We know what's going on. Your wedding party know what's going on if they've got roles to play. And then on the wedding day itself, I turn up, sort out anything that needs sorting in the morning, whilst you are having a lovely, relaxing day. We get you married and I coordinate the entire wedding day. So your wedding planner becomes your coordinator. So it does become like those two roles merged into one. Rarely will you see someone planning a wedding that then isn't going on to coordinate the wedding day. It's just kind of part and parcel. You're hiring someone to help you plan the day and also run that day as well, because they know the ins and outs of exactly what's going on. They know it just as well as you do. And like I mentioned, this is not just perfect for people that are anxious or overwhelmed or don't feel confident planning a wedding. Sometimes this is just good for anyone that wants an expert at their fingertips from the very first moment. You want someone that you can call on and help you plan things. When life does get busy, you know that someone is there to keep managing that and making sure things are going smoothly. Like I say, maybe you just have no interest in it. Maybe you don't have the time and you really want to, but you need to make sure that someone's going to do all the heavy lifting for you. Maybe you just want to do the fun bits and say yes or no, sign a contract, and plan all the fun stuff and DIY all your crafts. But you want someone else to do all the heavy lifting, reaching out to suppliers, keeping things organized, keeping track of your budget and where you're at with your spending to help you make sure you're not overspending, all of these good things. It is the perfect planning support package, essentially, when you are hiring a wedding planner. And honestly, I might be biased, but I really think they are underestimated in the wedding space. So many people just thinking we can do it ourselves, which yes, you can. But I've never spoken to anyone that's booked a full planning package and asked for a wedding planner that's regretted that and felt like, oh gosh, we just had too much support. That is not the case. So yeah, one of my favorite parts of my role. I love every part of my job. Don't get me wrong. It doesn't feel like a job. I just love it so much. But it is one of my favorite things to do when I get to be there from the very beginning and learn about you as a couple, understand the ins and outs of exactly how you want things to go, getting to meet you beforehand, go around your venue, envision how things are going to look on the day, and then see that thing through until fruition on the actual day is just the best. It's the best. And I love it. It's one of my favorite parts. So I've mentioned it there briefly in the wedding planning section as well. But now let's talk about what a wedding coordinator is and how that differs from a wedding planner. So you might have kind of picked up on this already, but a wedding coordinator takes over your plans at the end of the process. So we are not there to plan your wedding day. You've planned the wedding day. You've pulled everything into place. You've liaised and done the research and organized all of the plans for your wedding day. And then 4 to 6 weeks, sometimes 8 weeks before, a coordinator will come in. We will take over your plans, run through the timeline or create one for you if you are not at that stage yet. Make sure that everything we need to know, you are handing over that information. And then we come in and coordinate the wedding day so that you can relax and we make sure that it's seamless. So at the end of the wedding planning package, when we turn into a wedding coordinator, it's just that bit that you would be hiring for. So a lot of people come to me and they say, we've planned the wedding and everything's gone great. We've loved it. But now we're actually worried that we're not going to be able to enjoy the day because we're going to be worrying about who's bringing the cake knife out at the right time and who's going to get everyone onto the dance floor at the right time for this. And how are we going to know, when to call everyone together for the meal and, making sure the champagne comes out at the right time and, all of these things you don't want to worry about. We want to make sure that the seating plan's sorted, but we're not going to have time to sort out the reserved seating signs in the morning or make sure that the kids' packs are on the table ready for the kids in the right seats, or there's been a change of plans with some of the food and who's going to let people know because I don't want my bridesmaids worrying about that. And it's certainly not going to be me. That's when your coordinator comes in. Now, this is different. I need to make this very clear. A wedding coordinator is different to a venue coordinator or a venue events manager. Okay, different. Your venue coordinator works at your venue for your venue. They are sorting out venue related things like your food, like your bar, like the staff working at the venue, the ceremony typically as well, the timings. They do a lot of things. Don't get me wrong. It's no diss to venue coordinators. They are fantastic. But a wedding day coordinator comes in to make sure every single part of your day from start to finish is smooth. We work for you as a couple. Okay. So if you're saying, I need someone to help me run me back upstairs after this and make sure that I've got this, I need to make sure we've got shoe polish and the emergency kit for this. And my bridesmaids need coordinating for this. And I need to make sure that I've got a few extra things, signage and styling bits that we're bringing to the venue that need putting up, but the venue won't do that because they don't have time or capacity. Who's going to do that? Your wedding coordinator does. I will do that for you. Okay. And it's not just that wedding day. I think there is some confusion as well about saying, oh, well, it's just you just turn up on the day and coordinate. No, we don't. There is weeks of planning beforehand. You need to make sure that there is a handover process where you are handing over all of the information you have. And I will always, 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 always be reaching out to every single one of your suppliers, venue included, to say, hey, this is the information I have. Starting time, arrival time, details on what you're bringing, food requirements for whatever, last minute check-ins for those, I will always be checking in to triple confirm that information, even if you've done it yourselves. And also introduce myself. A lot of the time I haven't met suppliers that I'm going to work with on a wedding day, particularly if I've not been in that planning process and been liaising with them and speaking to them. So I'm just saying, hey, I'm going to be helping with the venue, running the day. Let me know if you need anything. And from this point forward, if the couple's requested it, please make me your point of contact instead of them. Okay. It is handing over all of these plans and all of that stress away from the couple and onto someone else. It's my job to do it. That is my role. Okay. It's not important to me to be just sitting down, relaxing, having a glass of champagne on your wedding day. Not at all. What is important to me and part of my role is making sure that everything is running smoothly and that you are having an incredible day and not having to worry about a thing. So even if you have someone at your venue that is, building you a timeline and telling you what time things are going to happen, and, they're running all these things for the venue, that's amazing. But it never hurts to have an extra pair of hands. And again, I've never heard anyone say, oh gosh, we had a coordinator at our wedding day and it was just too much support. We just had too many people there. I have heard people say after their wedding, I really wish we'd booked a coordinator for our wedding day because there were some things our venue just couldn't do. I really wish we knew about hiring a coordinator before our wedding day because there are just some things went wrong or could have been planned better or could have flowed smoother. And I really wish we booked someone beforehand. I have heard people say that a lot. So particularly as well, another point, if you have a dry hire venue, you absolutely, without question, need a wedding day coordinator because you don't have a venue coordinator there. There's no venue staff. You've just hired the space, empty space. There's nothing else in it. You absolutely need a coordinator. Potentially someone else to come and assist them as well, depending on how big and complicated your wedding day is. You need one, point blank. You can't convince me otherwise. So yes, there are some wedding days that just don't need it. And if you feel confident that your venue's got everything under control and you don't need any extra support and it's quite simple, or you can get in before and set everything up, then yes, maybe you don't need one. I'm not going to sit here and say everybody needs a wedding day coordinator, everybody needs a wedding planner, because you don't. But this is to highlight what their roles do. And if that would be beneficial for you, then yes, you might want to look into booking one. I hope you're enjoying this episode. I just wanted to share something with you really quickly before we carry on. If you are feeling a little bit stuck when it comes to wedding traditions and you want your wedding day to feel more like you, then this is for you. My free wedding traditions checklist helps you decide what really matters to you, what to keep the same, what to adjust, and what to completely scrap, so that you can plan a wedding day that feels personal and authentic to you. You'll find it linked in the show notes now, and I really hope it helps. I typically spend a wedding day when I am coordinating, checking that everyone is in place. I am checking my phone to see if any suppliers have called to say that there's any issues or they're running late. I am, setting a few things up in the morning, maybe some place names, maybe some favors on the tables. Maybe I am helping to move things from place to place. When you're repurposing your flowers, you're repurposing your signage. I am supporting your guests with moving from the right place if we're moving them from one space to the other. So many things. Okay. And more times than I can count, there have been things on a wedding day that I've been coordinating that the venue didn't have time or capacity to do. I know I have shared this story before in a previous episode about a wedding I did last year, but we had an issue with the flowers when I was moving them. They were supposed to be moved from the ceremony space into the wedding breakfast space. These gorgeous milk churns with like flowers on top. Like, of course you'd want to use them again. Your ceremony is like 30 minutes long, right? You want to make the most of them. You've paid for them. You want to make sure you can use them for longer. So me and the venue coordinator or venue manager were moving the churns from one place to the other. There was 2 of them. We moved one, absolutely fine. Came back, moved the other one. And by the time we got there, it was a short walk, not very far, a minute of like slowly walking it along the path. Everything was absolutely fine. And when we got there and put it down, I looked at it and I was like, that doesn't look right. And essentially like the structure to what was holding all of these flowers in place had fallen apart and there was no putting it back together again. Like it had completely disintegrated and dismantled. It was not worth saving. Like it wasn't savable. So we had to essentially pull out all of these flowers and make like new arrangements. I was like, find me every vase you've got, find me fish bowls and vases and anything I can put flowers in. And we're going to make some more flower things that can be used and not wasted. And I sorted that, I arranged that, but the venue manager coordinator said, I'm really, really sorry, I don't have time to sort this because I have to be off sorting stuff. We're about to start the meal. So I need to run here and get this sorted and do this and do that. And I was like, you go, 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 go. I've got this. And that is the biggest benefit to having a wedding coordinator there that can do those other things. The flowers are nothing to do with the venue. They're to do with your florist, they're to do with your wedding day, but they're nothing to do with the venue per se. So the venue was sorting venue things, and luckily I was there to be able to sort that. Took me 15, 20 minutes, literally quickly whipping things together, rushing around, sorting it, and I was able to make sure that that was still something that looked gorgeous and made their wedding day look amazing. Genuinely, they had no idea until she listened back to the episode where I'd talked about it, and she was like, I had no idea. It looked amazing. Like, we had no idea that anything had gone wrong. Didn't even notice on the day because obviously they're just wrapped up in their love and the day and the memories, but a huge benefit to having a coordinator there. So there are certain times where it can be a huge benefit, and there are things that your venue just can't do because they don't have time or capacity to do. So having that extra person there is a huge, huge benefit. In general, I would just say that having an extra person there is never going to be a bad thing, and someone that is purely just looking out for you, worrying about you as a couple and everything that you've specifically said you wanted. I've done other weddings before where the couple has said to me, we've spoken to our venue about wanting this specific thing to be covered or this thing to be moved out of the way or something like little in hindsight, but really important to them and specific that they wanted done. And they'd said to me, we don't really trust that the venue is going to remember to do that or that it's actually going to happen on the day. Like, we would rather have someone else there on the day that we have specified these requests to that can make sure that this happens, that can make sure that the venue sorts it. Okay. And that's really important. So if that's a priority to you, just being able to have someone there that can advocate for you, that can be on your side, that can do things the way you want them done, can be a huge, huge benefit. So I hope that explains a little bit better what a coordinator does and how that differs from a wedding planner, but how it can bring so much of a benefit to your wedding day as well. So many different roles, so many things that we can be involved in. In theory, I always say, like, within reason, there isn't much you couldn't ask me to do on a wedding day. If there's something that's important to you that you say, really weird request, but could you bring this from here to here? Or could you do this? Or could you collect up everything after our wedding breakfast and move all of our cards and things from one place to the other? Could you go put them in our accommodation suite for us? Could you make sure that, arranging the first looks and sorting those things out? It's just freeing up time for your venue to sort other things, but also making sure that certain things happen in the way you want them to if your venue is not able to do it for you. Taking the responsibility away from your wedding party as well so that they can enjoy the day. A lot of the time, if you've got lots of little moving parts or things that need sorting, that it's just going to be too much for your wedding party to sort, your bridesmaids and groomsmen and your mum and dad and all things like that. You want them to enjoy the day. Perfect opportunity to have a coordinator come in. And honestly, if you're not sure if it's going to be the right fit for your wedding, book in a consultation with one. Could be me, could be someone else. Book in a consultation, have a chat about the questions you have about your wedding day. And does it sound like we'd need one? And we've spoken to our venue and they'll do this, but not this. And how much of a benefit is it going to be? I've done weddings before where I've literally just turned up on the day to set things up in the morning. And, it was a custom, much smaller package than what I would do for like a full day. That was all they needed me to do. They said, the venue's not going to do this for us. Can you come and can you set up some stuff on our tables and put these things out exactly where we want them to go? That's all we need you to do. Every wedding is different, and I understand that. We have packages for a reason because it suits a lot of people. And we can say this package is perfect for you. This package is perfect for you. Have a chat with people if you've got questions or you're not sure if it's going to be a good fit. I think that's the biggest thing I can suggest here. And thirdly, a little bit of a different role is the wedding day stylist. So I feel like this one is the most obvious that it's a little bit different from the others, but your stylist is essentially making your day look beautiful. We're focused on the vision, on the way things look, on the items that you are bringing, from candles to lanterns to napkins, anything all the way up to chair decor and draping and lighting, props, bigger installations. If you're looking for something really big and dramatic and statement making, that's your wedding styling. The way that it looks, the things that you see. So your stylist is naturally going to be less involved in the wedding planning and more in the vision and how everything looks. So you're not going to hire a stylist and then say to them, can you help me pull together my wedding schedule? Can you help me liaise with other suppliers and find out information about contracts and timings and all these other things? That's not what they're there to do. They are there to make your day look gorgeous, typically by hiring out items that they have. So you might choose from a selection of things they already have. They might help you to outsource other items if they don't provide them directly through them. They might help you to design and pull together pieces for a really big installation piece if you're looking for draping and something really, like I said, something that's a big statement to sit somewhere in your venue and you want that dressed up like to the nines. You want it to look incredible. They would help you do that. So it's less about the planning itself and more about planning like the vision and design of your day. They will attend your wedding day to set up those pieces, but they don't tend to stick around for the entire day because they don't need to. So they might then turn up the next day or really late in the evening if it was necessary to take everything down. But it's typically going to be like the next day they'll come and collect everything. If your venue has cleared things away. So if you're just getting things for your tables, for example, like your candles, lanterns, faux foliage, napkins, table runners, whatever it might be, if you're just using things on the tables and your venue needs to clear that up at some point, they might then be putting them back into boxes, ready for your stylist to come and pick up the next day, or maybe you're packing it up the next morning and dropping it back to them, like, whatever it might be. But your stylist is there to like not run everything, just make sure that everything looks gorgeous in the way that you hoped it would. That's pretty much what a stylist does. It's very different from the planning and coordinating, and you're not going to get a coordinator turn up on the day. So where I said when I'm coordinating a wedding I turn up and sometimes I'll be styling things up, that's minimal. It might be place settings on the table that's already set up with glasses and plates and things like that by the venue. I might be putting out table favors. I might be putting out some activity packs for the kids. I might be setting up a guest book table with the guest book and your card box and some pens and a few other things that you want setting up. Okay. It's not huge stuff that takes forever and ever and ever. I could not go and coordinate a wedding day and set up the entire space in the morning as well. I have to bring someone with me at the bare minimum. I did a wedding once where I did plan the day, coordinated the day, and they wanted everything set up as well that they had bought and DIY'd. So I had to bring 2 people with me to help me do that. And it was a push. Okay. It was like early on in my planning days. And I was like, oh, really should have maybe bought an extra pair of hands, on top of these 2 people. But you live and you learn. Everything went perfectly and smoothly and, there was no issues. It was just a very busy day. So I couldn't be doing both of those things. If you hired me to do coordination and styling, I would be bringing extra people to make sure that that was executed smoothly on the day. I wouldn't want to stretch myself so thin and be running around the venue coordinating and liaising with suppliers, knowing that tables need setting up and styling pieces need installing as well. So it is a different role, but not something that one person couldn't do. They would just need those extra hands to do it. But I hope that makes sense. Anything that looks beautiful on your day, the mood boards and pulling together ideas for things, that's going to be your stylist. And it's a really good fun role to have if you're wanting to make a big, gorgeous impact with your styling on the day. So I've talked about the overlap a little bit, and I hope that that's really clear to understand as well. Your planner might guide your styling decisions and, help you to bring together a vision, but they won't always be providing that physical decor. They won't be setting up that styling. It's not always part of that role, but they might help you with the initial inspiration. And then maybe you're helping you to find a stylist that can actually provide that for you, or they're helping you to find the items and then getting themselves and an assistant to set up a few things on the day. Maybe it's that. Your coordinator might set up some basic or limited styling items, but it's not a full stylist. It's not going to be full draping and installation, all those things. That takes more time. That takes more dedicated hours and people and time and things like that. So again, a conversation to have. And whilst your stylist creates things that looks beautiful, they are not managing your timelines. They are not managing your suppliers or logistics. They are not a planner or coordinator. Even if they do that as a separate part of their role on that day, that is not what they are doing. And those, the things I've talked about in this episode today, setting up minimal styling things, supporting with the vision whilst coordinating and all of those things, that's all things that I do as part of my role as a planner. Not every planner or coordinator might do that. But for me, and as part of the way I want to support my couples and the packages that I offer, that is something that I will offer, setting up those minimal styling things on the day. I do have some boundaries in place to make sure that, my packages don't get out of control and I'm not overextending myself. I need to make sure that I'm giving my clients the best service possible. But there are certain things I can do. Have a conversation with your suppliers. If these are the questions you have, once you understand the basics of what the roles include, then you want to be reaching out to suppliers and asking how far their services extend, figuring out if there's certain things you can do yourself and the planner or coordinator can support with, or if you do just need a separate stylist completely to support this extra part of your vision. In simple terms, if you are wondering if you need any of these roles or which roles you do need and you're not sure how to figure that out, if you are feeling overwhelmed or you just want support from the start of wedding planning, get yourself a wedding planner. If you really love planning or are happy to do the planning and you want to save some money and you want to enjoy the wedding day itself stress-free, get yourself a wedding day coordinator. And if you've got everything else covered and you've got logistics and everything covered and your venue's going to sort, you're comfortable with that they're going to sort everything else on your wedding day, but you want it to look incredible and you want a big visual impact, then get yourself a stylist. Maybe you want all three. Maybe you want 2 out of 3. Maybe you want 1 out of 3. Maybe you want absolutely none of them. Either is fine, but hopefully this helps you to understand a bit better what they do, how they can work together, how they can benefit your wedding day. And honestly, many weddings do benefit from having more than one of these together, like maybe a planner and a stylist, a coordinator and a stylist, just the stylist by itself, whatever it might be. But I don't think you can go wrong, like I said, with having an extra pair of hands. Now, if you are looking for one of these roles, a planner, a coordinator, or a stylist, and you are planning a wedding in the UK, then please do get in touch with me. I would love to have a chat with you. We can always do a free consultation. I don't charge for those. It's just a good opportunity for us to chat and to talk through your ideas and see which package might be the best fit for you. If you are looking for just some virtual support, then you can contact me from anywhere in the world. You don't have to be from the UK. And I've done that before. I'm working with a gorgeous couple right now, and they might be listening, who are in America, in Nashville, and we're just doing some virtual planning and styling support. It's totally possible. Can't be there on the day. Can't transport myself over to America in an hour to be there for them. But it's not something they wanted. They just wanted that virtual support. Their venue's going to handle the rest. It's perfect. So if there is something you're looking for, a little bit of extra wedding support, I would love to be considered to help you. You can find everything you need to contact me in the show notes below, and I hope this helps. If you have more questions about these roles and what they include, and you want me to go over it more in another episode, then do let me know or send me a DM and we can have a chat. Lots of people regularly send me questions and say, I've listened to the podcast and I've got a question about this. So I've just listened to this episode and this is my personal situation and can you help me with this? People do it all the time and I love it. I'll send you a little voice note back or a little message back. And yeah, it means that I get to help you with your wedding day, and I always appreciate to hear how much you're loving the podcast. So that is where we're going to leave it for today's episode. I hope this was helpful. I hope it helps you to plan your wedding day. I will be back next Wednesday for another episode, and I'm so excited already. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to find all of those information that you need going forward in the show notes. Listen to some other episodes and happy planning. I'll speak to you next week. Bye. Thank you for listening to the Your Wedding Unlimited podcast. If you are planning a wedding that's personal, authentic, and free from tradition for tradition's sake, and you'd love some expert help along the way, you can find my inquiry form linked in the show notes below. Don't forget to follow the podcast for more honest wedding advice and inspiration, and I'll be back next week with another episode. Happy planning!